Hey friends, it's Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. Today I'm going to be working on the cover of this journal. This was a Junior Service League cookbook that I got from a little old lady's estate sale a few years ago, and I actually turned it into an altered book. It had been in my shop for a while, and I needed a journal. I've got a project that I'm getting ready to start. I'm not going to give you too many details right now because I've got to figure out how I want to tackle this, but I need another journal. I know, and you're probably thinking, what in the world is she going to do with another journal? I need another journal. So, this one was sitting in my shop, and I had already done a lot of work to it, and I thought, why not just use it? I love the book. I love the way I set it up, and so I'm just going to use this one for this next project that I'm doing. So what I want to do first is I want to alter the outside. Since I've already done the inside, I'm going to go ahead and work on the outside. And so I'm just today playing around with paint and collage and just all kinds of little bits that I love. So the theme, without giving too much away about this this project, but the theme for this journal, it's going to be everything that is an absolute favorite, everything that means something to me, everything that brings light, love, and happiness. So this is not going to be haphazard. I know most of my journaling videos are very haphazard, but everything I'm selecting to put on the covers of this is very deliberate, which is not my normal style. Usually I just grab random things and slap them down, but everything that is going to go onto this cover, everything that's going to go into this journal is very, very deliberate, and it has a purpose. So I edited this video and took out a lot because the process of picking out the things that I wanted really took a long time. And I was okay with that because that's part of the process of this journal. That's part of what I want this journal to be is it's something, like I said, that brings me light, love, and happiness. So yeah, I took out a lot of stuff on this journal, but pretty much here were my supplies. I used paint, and of course I used my favorite color of paint. Everything that you see me using is something that is my favorite. So I used paint, I've used paper dolls, I've got stickers, I've got fabric, I've got old stamps, I've got produce stickers, I've got some flower cutouts, some vintage flower cutouts, little golden book pages, some of my favorite paper. And I'm just really going to kind of slap all of these guys down. Now, I am not a professional collage artist or anything. I have to work at making a collage. Sometimes it takes a lot of energy for me to do a collage because it's such a process. The layering and putting things kind of randomly, but actually they're really not randomly. They're kind of intentional. It takes a lot, and so I don't do a lot of collage. I did several years ago, and I was just practicing and figuring out how to do it, and I like to do it, but it does require, for me anyway, it does require a lot of energy. So I'm actually kind of proud of myself for doing this today because this, like I said, this took a long time. This was a very long process. So I'm just putting things down that I love. I'm just using glue, and I'm just using regular Elmer's all-purpose glue. My paint is still kind of tacky, so that's good because that helps things to stick down. And as I'm doing this, I'm seeing how all these things, I love, I'm putting them on the cover, and I love how they look. But you're going to see as I go through that I'm going to cover some of these things up. And I know that bothers a lot of people. They're like, why would you use something so precious and then you're going to cover it up? And that is a totally personal thing. So when you do collage, if you don't want to cover up your items, don't cover up your items. But for me, I'm okay with covering up my items because I know that they are there. I know that they are hidden. I know that there's glimpses of them. And when I look at this cover, I'm going to linger. I'm going to look at this cover and I'm going to touch it, and I'm going to, discover every little corner and every little crease and every little layer. And so I'm all right with that because that's the whole point. I want to see what's underneath some of these things that I'm putting on top. So if covering things up bothers you, then you might want to probably stop now, because I am going to cover up a lot of this stuff. So now I'm just kind of putting things down, and then every once in a while I'm grabbing my paintbrush and just kind of, with it being wet with still a little bit of glue, still a little bit of paint, I kind of go over everything to kind of make it all mash together. And then if you just saw, I put those little brown food stamps, or not food stamps, but those little brown shopping stamps on, and that's because they accidentally fell into my paint water, and so they were wet, so I just thought I'd go ahead and put them on. And now I'm just kind of adding a little bit more to this top layer. I'm going through my sticker stash, so everything I have so far is kind of old-ish 1950s type of stuff, and I wanted to bring in some 1970s type of stuff because that's really me, that 1970s vibe. So I'm going through my sticker stash, and I'm just finding some of my favorite stickers, some of my stickers that just mean the most to me, some of them that mean light, love, or happiness. And so just plopping those down, and not really worried about too much about where they're going to go, because I know at the end of this I'm going to paint over the whole thing and kind of marry everything together. Remember that crazy tape that I was using in that altered book that I made for my friend who's retiring? Well, I had a couple of pieces that were laying on my desk, and so I just grabbed those and slapped those on the journal, which is kind of funny because they don't bring me light, love, or happiness, but they did seem to work there, and so I plopped them down. Now I'm just taking some lighter paint, and so I'm going to use I've got some neon craft paint, some hot pink and some orange, and I'm just going to rub it in a few little areas just to kind of bring some light to those areas. And then I'll kind of go over it with my fingers and then kind of pull it off with a cloth, and it just highlights the areas. It'll get into the cracks and the crevices and kind of add a little bit of dimension. So I like doing that. And then once I do that, I go over the same process with just a little bit of a darker paint. So now this is going to make things, give things a little bit more of a shadow. And so again, I'm just using I don't even know if it's a damp cloth. It's just a cloth that I had sitting around, and when I put stuff on, I just kind of tamp over it with that cloth, and it'll kind of pick some of the stuff up, so it blends it together and it makes it look like it's supposed to be there. And then this is a paint that is another neon craft paint. I think I got it at Walmart or Michael's. And I just love that blue, and so I'm adding that blue, and it just adds, again, another dimension of color, another bit of shadowing, and kind of gets into the crevices and everything. Now, as for the spine of this is plastic, so I know that my paint is not going to adhere to this plastic, and I'm okay with that because, I mean, this journal isn't going to be perfect. It's going to be a very happy journal, but it's not going to be perfect by any stretch of the means. So I'm all right if my paint chips off. That's totally okay. What I'm thinking is that once the cover dries, I'm going to take it out in the garage, and I'm going to spray the whole cover, spine, and everything with a sealant. And I just use I think it's a Valspar. I got it in the spray paint section at Walmart, and it's just a clear coat, a clear matte finish. and it'll hopefully preserve. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, I don't know. But I just finished this not too long ago, and I've already got some cracks on the paint, and I'm all right with that. Totally okay. So now I'm just adding, again, a few final finishing touches, and this is the hard part with collage. How do you know when you're done? And that's one of my struggles. How do I know when I'm done? So I can see that I've got layers, and I'm kind of getting to the top layer here. And so my thoughts are, whatever I put on this top layer is going to be the most visible. So I'm very, very intentional about anything that I pick to go on this top layer. I also think of the top layer as like the icing on the cake. And you know how icing kind of holds the cake together? This top layer is going to kind of pull all of this together. So I'm trying to make sure that as I put things on, I use them multiple times, or I use them in a pattern or a way that would make your eye go, across the page or across the cover. So you'll see me using several items over and over again, like the vintage purple flower stamps, and those red and yellow flower stamps, which I'm not for sure where I got those, but they're really old. I think they came out of a cutout, I think. Anyway, I'm using those just because I want to add a lot of continuity between the two pages. So if I put some on the left, then I put some on the right, and vice versa. And so then just picking, again, more things that I want to be standout items, and I'm pretty much done. And now I'm ready to take and kind of marry everything together. And I'm going to do this by using, okay, so I have it right here. It's a decoupage, and it is Martha Stewart's Crafts Decoupage. I got it on clearance at Tuesday Morning a while ago. And it's an opalescent, so it says green tint opalescent finish. And so I'm just going to, once I get done putting all the rest of the stuff down, I'm just going to take this decoupage, I'm going to pour a little bit on the cover, and then I'll spread it around with my paintbrush. Now it's going to be translucent, so some of the light will go through, meaning I'll be able to see what I've put down, but it's also going to put this greenish opalescent finish over the cover, and it kind of pulls everything together. So it'll mute all of the colors, and then it'll pull it all together. So these are my final touches. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself, but these are my final touches, just putting on a few more little postage stamps that I found. And I saw these stamps. I thought they were kind of cool because there's one that says sugar, and then there's one that says coffee. So I went ahead and put those on because, again, light, love, and happiness, and coffee and sugar bring me light, love, and happiness. Actually, coffee and sugar together don't, because I don't like sugar in my coffee. But sugar in other things does bring me light, love, and happiness. Okay, so here's the opalescent decoupage, and it's kind of runny. It's not thick like Mod Podge, and so it's easy to push around. And I'm just taking the excess and kind of smushing it in and making sure that I don't have a lot of like brush strokes and things. As it's still wet, I grab a few pieces of fabric that I have sitting around, and I stuck those on. So again, this is like now the decoration on top of the icing of the cake. And then I'm going to go get some of my inks, like my Color Shine inks and stuff, and they've got some glitter and things in them, and I'm just going to plop some down. And that folder that I'm using there is just kind of something that I used throughout this project to collect any paint that I didn't want, or any glue or anything that was on the book that I needed to get off of the book. So I just smush it into the book, and it'll pull off of it, and then I'll eventually use that file folder for something else. So now once I have all of that done, and it's still kind of a little bit tacky, I dry it really, really well, and then this is kind of where it's at right now. So here's why I love this, because right now it looks awkward, but as I go to fill this up, this journal can be be very chunky. You can see the pages are so much skinnier than the spine. And that's exactly what I want for this next project that I'm getting ready to do, because I'm going to put a lot of bulk into this. Okay, guys, I hope you had a great time watching this. I hope you have been inspired to go try some collage or an altered book. I hope you are healthy. I hope you are happy. And I hope you do something creative today. Bye.